In a place forgotten by maps, nestled high among the peaks where clouds are born, lay a small mountain village. It was a realm of profound quiet, where the rhythm of life followed the sun's gentle arc across the sky. The air crisp and thin, the scent of pine, damp earth, hand-carved wooden homes, cobblestone paths worn smooth by generations of footsteps. Each morning, a thick, ethereal mist would descend from the mountaintops, blanketing the village in a soft white silence. It was a world that felt both ancient and dreamlike, a sanctuary suspended between the heavens and the earth, where the world outside seemed like a distant, half-remembered story. This tranquil veil, however, concealed a subtle, ever-present chaos. The wind that whispered through the narrow alleyways often carried a mournful song, a sound that seemed to speak of longing and forgotten things. The mountains themselves, while protective guardians, were also giants of unpredictable temper. Storms could gather without warning, their fury echoing through the valleys with a primal roar that shook the very foundations of the humble homes. The people of the village understood this duality. They knew that peace was not the absence of turmoil, but the ability to find stillness within it, a lesson taught by the very land they called home. The days unfolded with a simple, unhurried grace. Villagers tended to their terrace gardens, their hands deeply connected to the soil that sustained them. The sound of a blacksmith's hammer striking an anvil was a steady heartbeat, a rhythm of purpose and creation. Children's laughter would often break the silence, their voices pure and clear as they played among the ancient stones. Yet, even in this idyllic setting, there was a sense of something more, a feeling that the mist was not just water vapor, but a curtain between worlds. It was a place where the mystical was woven into the mundane, and where the whispers of the soul were sometimes louder than the spoken word. This delicate balance between serenity and an underlying wildness defined the spirit of the village. It was a place that nurtured the body and the spirit, offering both comfort and challenge. The mountains provided sustenance and shelter, but they also demanded respect and awareness. The mist offered solitude and a space for contemplation, but it could also disorient and obscure the path ahead. The people here learned to live with this mystery, to accept that not all things could be seen or understood. They knew that the most important truths were often felt in the heart, not grasped by the mind. A wisdom that flowed through the village like the clear, cold streams that tumbled down from the peaks. Within this village lived a young man named Shadow. He was not called this because of a darkness in his spirit, but because he seemed to walk with one foot in the light of the present and the other in the faint silhouette of a life he could not quite recall. He was a son. He was a brother, a gentle soul loved by all who knew him. His family was the anchor of his world, their love a warm hearth. His father, hands weathered by wood and soil, taught him the language of the forest. His mother, whose songs could soothe a crying child, wrapped him in unwavering care. Their life was humble, yet rich in ways coin couldn't measure. They lived in a small cottage. The scent of baking bread and drying herbs filled the air. Shadow's days, helping his father mend fences, gathering wild berries with his younger sister, listening to the elders' stories by the fire in the evenings. He was woven into the daily tapestry of village life. He loved his family with a depth as vast as the sky above their mountains. Yet despite this, a feeling of disconnection haunted him. When his family laughed, a part of him stood apart, an observer. He felt like a traveler at a welcoming inn who knew it wasn't his final destination. This feeling created a chasm within him, a lonely space even his mother's embrace couldn't fill. He was loved and safe, but not whole. He was a star fallen into the wrong sky. Shadow tried to be the son and brother his family deserved. He performed his chores with diligence, offered smiles when his heart felt heavy, listened intently even as his mind drifted through misty, unfamiliar landscapes. He played his part. The effort was a constant strain, a silent performance. He was a keeper of two homes, the warm, tangible cottage, and an ethereal, fragmented memory of another place, another time. He found himself lost in the uncharted territory between them, a solitary wanderer in the wilderness of his own heart. The chaos in Shadow's mind was not born of madness, but of memory. They came to him not as clear narratives, but as fleeting, powerful fragments, like shards of a shattered mirror reflecting a world he once knew. He would see images of a city bathed in golden light, its architecture unlike anything in his mountain village. He would feel the warmth of a sun that seemed kinder, gentler, In these flashes, he saw himself as a healer, his hands glowing with a soft, calming energy as he mended wounds and eased suffering. These visions were vivid and intoxicating, filled with a sense of harmony and purpose that his current life, for all its simple beauty, seemed to lack. The most potent and persistent of these echoes was the memory of a soulmate. He could not see her face clearly. She was a silhouette framed by light, a melody he could almost hear, a presence that resonated in the very core of his being. He remembered the feeling of her hand in his, the sound of her laughter, and the weight of a sacred promise made between them. It was a vow to find each other again, no matter how many lifetimes or worlds stood between them. This memory was both his greatest treasure and his heaviest burden. It filled him with an unquenchable longing, a deep, aching need to bridge the gap between who he was and who he used to be. These strange memories were a constant source of inner turmoil. They made the peaceful routines of the village feel foreign and incomplete. How could he find contentment in mending a fence when he remembered mending broken spirits? How could he feel at home in his loving family when his soul cried out for a partner it had known for eternities? He felt like a river forced to flow in two opposite directions at once. The love for his family pulled him toward the present, demanding his attention and his heart, while the echoes of his past life pulled him backward into a world of forgotten promises and a love that refused to be forgotten. This internal conflict left him feeling perpetually adrift, lost between two shores. The moments of peace were fleeting, often shattered by a sudden intrusive image or a wave of profound sorrow for a loss he could not name. The memories gave him hope, a reason to believe in something more, a destination for his searching soul. But they also brought him pain, highlighting the profound emptiness he felt in his current existence. He was a puzzle with pieces from two different boxes, and he did not know how to make them fit together to form a coherent picture of himself. Shadow's family, though unaware of the specific nature of his inner world, saw the clouds that gathered in his eyes. His mother would watch him as he stared into the fire, his gaze distant. She noticed the way his smile never quite reached his eyes, the subtle weight on his young shoulders. His father observed his son's silences, the long pauses before simple answers. They did not understand the source of his sorrow, but they felt its presence as keenly as a shift in the wind before a storm. Their concern was a gentle, unspoken thing. His mother would place an extra blanket on his bed, prepare his favorite meal. His father would invite him to walk the high trails, the ways of the forest, the resilience of the ancient pines, the patience of the mountain itself. They gave him space, a silent circle of support, hoping their love could be a lighthouse in his personal fog. Shadow felt the weight of their concern and shielded them from his turmoil. His solitary walks became his refuge. Before dawn, he climbed into the misty highlands. The mountains did not demand answers. They simply were. There, he let fragments surface, tracing frost like maps to a world he had lost. The vast peaks gave his mind room to breathe.